Banchero and Mitchell both questionable for each team. Before the show, we've seen this over-under line moving up and down, but the point spread has not moved at all. So I don't know what to make of that. You would think if a key player, if either one of them has been upgraded, then the point spread would move as well. Maybe they've both been upgraded, so the total went up and the point spread didn't move. I guess that would make sense. But I actually lean Cleveland here, and I think Orlando's not quite as contrarian as the gods might think tonight.
Oh, all right, Lynn, Cleveland. Well, one way we're going to find out here is whether or not Rob Dino breaks this tie. Andy Lang, the prop god, talk to us here. Get it, Cleveland been hot. But are we buying them here tonight, laying 8.5 points, or do you think that's the right side here?
So I am with I'm with the contrarian gods here. I like the Magic tonight. I think sometimes these breaks, these all-star breaks, work perfect for teams. The team's struggling, they needed a break, they're tired, they got some injuries. Then you see it backfire. And I mean, Cleveland, the hottest team in the league, it was 18-2 straight up run. So if you're them, you're like, well, man, that break, sure, it was welcomed by some of the players, but I'm wondering if maybe they lost a little momentum. I would jump over to the NHL to use a similar kind of comparison. The Edmonton Oilers, hottest team in hockey, slew of wins in a row. I think they won 12 in a row. Come out of the All-Star break, 4-4. Just completely zap their momentum. They just have not been putting teams away. So I wonder if this is kind of the break that the Cleveland Cavaliers did not need. And I think the books are making a little bit of a mistake on a team total. I like the Orlando Magic over 104.5. I know Cleveland's been the best defensive team over the last 15, but this number is just way too low. The Magic, they've gone over this in 10 out of their last 11 games. And the Cavs, they've given up over this total in 6 out of 10 games. But the teams that went under, Toronto, Brooklyn, San Antonio, Memphis, not exactly a murderer's row of offensive teams here. So I think this is a really nice spot for the Magic to come out. I would not play this until you get full lineup. So, just wait and make sure who's going to be the starters. But just as long as you get Banchero, yeah, absolutely, I would take this one. And I'm with the contrarian gods that the Magic make this a close game.
So, well, he saved you there, because you didn't have to be the tiebreaker here. So that's an unusual spot
he is the tiebreaker. What are you talking about? We each went one way.
Usually he has to tiebreaker for the contrarian gods, because usually at this point it's a 2-0 nothing, and then if Dino goes with the contrarian god, then we're all screwed.
He would be going contrarian to the contrarian play. I got
correct.
you.
That's right. Usually at this point, he has to go the other way just to make sure we actually win the bet. We do have, though it is 1-1 here, Vino, and I don't think there's any doubt that we know Cleveland before the break was playing their best basketball. But I'll point to the fact that they were 10-1 straight up, but they were 6-5 against the number, which means they're at the top of the market. There's no buying Cleveland now. There would only be fading them. What are you going to be doing?
Yeah, well, first thing I'm going to do is check and see where the Red Demon action is leaning, and then I'll figure out which way I'm going to go. I would say, Joe, there's reason to play both here. And, one reason to play Cleveland real quick here, guys, is that they sit as the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference standings right now with about 25 left. And it's a real opportunity for them to lock this thing up. They're not going to catch Boston. But with Milwaukee not playing real well, a game and a half behind them, with the Knicks banged up, with Philly banged up, if Cleveland can go on a run, and I would say that the number 2 seed is important to them. Now, if I want to take the other side of the fence, Orlando sits at number 8. And of all teams in the NBA, the remaining schedules, theirs happens to be the weakest as far as opposition win percentage is concerned. So Orlando could make a jump from 8 to, 4 if they go on some kind of roll. So good incentive for both teams. Generally, whenever I look at the Orlando Magic, I look to see if they have an advantage on their front line. In this particular case, it's not a real advantage because Cleveland with Allen and Mobley can combat any big front line. And then the backcourt becomes a real issue for Orlando against Cleveland's backcourt. I mean, you don't necessarily want Anthony Black and Jalen Suggs lined up against Garland and Mitchell if Mitchell plays. I think the injury report has a lot to do with this. If you don't get Banchero, then Cleveland's front line could have a pretty decent day here. If you don't get Mitchell, it eases the burden on the Orlando backcourt. I think with all that back and forth contradiction, Joe, the only way to go here is to take the 8.5. I think the Magic plus 8.5 in what should be a defensive battle seems like a big number. I don't know if that's 7. And Steve said he saw, or he sees contradicting numbers as far as which side the public, so to speak, is on. I just wonder if that 7 opener was just something that they thought was a bad number, or it's a love fest of early money this morning for Cleveland. I'm not sure, but I think I would be on the side of the contrarian gods here and take the Magic plus the 8.5.
All right, looking at the 8.5. That's where he is going there, guys. The contrarian gods as well. So we do have a featured matchup here in a game tonight, which is going to be interesting as we make this final push in the regular season of the NBA with two teams that are trying to make a run here. The Dallas Mavericks at home taking on the Phoenix Suns in this one here, guys. And stop me if you've heard this. Bradley Beal on the injury report. So not really sure whether or not that's going to help Phoenix at all. The one thing we do know is when healthy, the few times that he has been, they're pretty damn good with Booker, Durant, and Beal. When he's not healthy, that's when things we start to scratch the head a little bit here. What are we thinking, though, Merrill, when you look at this game between these two teams who, hey, it would be really great if they went on a run here and maybe made a push into the playoffs red hot. Can you trust Phoenix, though, on the road with just 2 out of the big 3 that they have?
Well, they both made a push at the end of the first half. These two teams are 2 of the hotter teams in the league. Phoenix 5-1 straight up and against the spread. Dallas 6-0 straight up, 5-1 against the spread also their last 6. So these were 2 teams that, as Andy pointed out, probably didn't need the All-Star break. They were in good current form. So that's kind of a neutral wash. You mentioned the injury report. Bradley Beal questionable as of 4 o'clock Eastern. Doncic is probable, so it does look like that superstar is going for Dallas. We've seen a little bit of a money move on Phoenix. They opened +2. Now it's down to +1.5. What I consider one of the sharpest books in the world, though, is actually holding a 1. So that might be a little bit of an indicator which way the sharps are looking. Total open 243.5 up to the 245 range. I'm actually going to play contrarian to the over-under move there. I think the under 245 could be worth a look. One of the reasons these two teams are combined 11-1 straight up their last 6 games each is because they're playing pretty good defense. They're well rested coming out of the All-Star break. I don't see why that formula is going to change. And both teams were shooting lights out before the break. I actually could see that coming back down to earth a bit. So although I'd love to play big totals over, 245 is no longer a big total, Joe. That's an average total in the modern NBA. And I think under 245 might be the best way to attack this one.
I think Derek Lively also back here for Dallas, which is great for them. But, don't discount. I mean, that was a grueling all-star game for Doncic, the way he was sweating like that, Andy. I mean, the way they laid out like that in that all-star game, you just thank goodness nobody got hurt. That's all I'm going to say. What do you think in this matchup here tonight, though? Is there anybody in particular in a prop betting spot that you like?
Yeah, well, a couple things I think. Well, first off, I think that was the first and last year that Indianapolis will host the NBA All-Star Game. It's 20 degrees and snowing here. Listen, honestly, in all seriousness, Indianapolis does a fantastic job of conventions and big events. We crush it. The NBA All-Star Game was a bad choice. Then just make it worse. There's snow, ice, cold everywhere. And I also think, I don't know, does Phoenix really have a big 3? Is Bradley Beal really a big 3? Is 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and 30 games make up a big 3? I don't know. I'm going to go to a guy that has recently joined Dallas, and that's Daniel Gafford. And I'm going to take his over 18.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's gone over in every game. 22 PRA, 35 PRA, and 28 PRA. As of now, he's only playing 22 minutes per game, but they need him. They don't have a lot of depth at that position, and neither does Phoenix. Once Nurkic goes out, it's pretty lean in there. He's had 10 and 17 rebounds the last 2 games. He's shooting around 60% from the field. So I think this is a pretty low number. I think Gafford, when he comes in off the bench, is very, very useful to him. He's going to be the guy inside grabbing rebounds, and that high percentage, 5 of 7 from the field, 7-11 from the field. So it's got a really good chance to put up and have a very efficient night. And actually every time he comes in off the bench for Dallas. So, and if Lively, he's probable to play, maybe he plays a fewer minutes, and maybe Gafford plays a few more minutes as the season goes on. So I like Daniel Gafford, kind of an under the radar prop. I think this number is too low. I'll take him over PRA.
All right, there you go. A couple of props there for you, Rob Vino. How about you, man? Doncic, Kyrie. I mean, a lot of star power on the court in this one here tonight. How you leaning?
Yeah, it's interesting that you brought up their appearances in the All-Star game, Joe, because I was just saying earlier, I was out with Ski Profit, and it used to be years ago there was easy money to be made in these first games back from the All-Star break, because they would play these things like 2 games after the All-Star game. Like Tuesday night, they would be back in, and you would just go and look and see if a team had 3 or 4 guys in the All-Star game, went the whole weekend, party scene, on-court scene, all the events and activities, and you could just fade these teams that had multiple guys. Now, with 4 days off, really doesn't matter. The travel doesn't get to them. So you should see fresh squads here. I like Dallas in this, and I'll combine. One of the reasons why I like them is I'll combine what you and Andy both said. You mentioned Derek Lively. He mentioned Daniel Gafford. Dallas is a different team now. 0 rim protection for the first 50 games or so, and now all of a sudden 2 hybrids that can run the floor and protect the rim. It's basically what Luka, Kyrie, Tim Hardaway, all these offensive guys needed, was just somebody to defend the rim. And if you take a look at Dallas's 6-game stretch right before the All-Star break, they didn't give up over 111 points to anybody. The 111 was the highest. The majority of those were between 102 and 106, which is strange to see. We see Dallas give up 102 and 3/4 earlier this season. So I think there's a little bit of a change going on in Dallas. It's an important game, and a change for the better. It's an important game because right now these teams are separated by 1 game. And again, if you just look at that Western Conference logjam between 3 and 7, there's a lot of progress that can be made by winning games here. I think Dallas is in the best shape they've been in personnel-wise all season long. If Beal doesn't go, that only hinders Phoenix's offensive rhythm, because he may not be a legitimate big 3, if I take Andy's point, but when those 3 are together, the Phoenix efficiency numbers on offense have been tremendous. So without Beal, it could be a little bit different. Even with him, though, I think Dallas is the right side here. I don't trust Phoenix's defense on the road whatsoever. And I think Dallas, over those last 6 games, showed you there's a little bit more of a commitment with these 2 big guys. And P.J. Washington, don't let me forget him either. Another big guy that can play a little bit of defense. So I'm going to try Dallas here in this game over Phoenix.
All right. Certainly, if they can remain healthy, Dallas is going to be very interesting to see here down the stretch. We do have, of course, a game that we're going to focus on the total. We call it our overtime section here. And the total, some might not believe it, but this has actually come down. It was up at 248, 248 and a half. Now it's down to 246, 246 and a half. And it involves the Pacers. What? Yes, the Pacers, believe it or not. The market moving down a little bit on this one here. It was good to see Halliburton on the court for the All-Star game, all kidding aside there. It was good that he repped his city there. I thought he did him proud. I mean, honestly, those 3/4, half-court shots he was throwing up and making were truly something else. But what do we do here? Because Detroit also played pretty decent basketball before the break there, Merrill. And do you agree with the under move here? It's not what I thought we would have gotten here, but that's where the market seems to go. Is it still an over or pass spot for you?
So the Pacers went over in their final game last Wednesday, over a week ago, against Toronto. It was 246, same price range, landed 252. but they have not gone over in back-to-back games over the past 20. It's happened one time since early January, only one time. And I know they've been off for a full week. I'm not reading too much into that. But another interesting angle is there are last 11 games the Pacers have alternated over, under the last 11 games. They haven't had a back-to-back over or under. So what it tells me, though, big picture, is that the market has finally started to price the Pacers accurate, because this was a team that was well over 60% over, as you know, the first couple months of the season, and they're dead on 6-5, 50-50 basically over the last month. So I think we can start looking for reasons to play the under in Pacer games. I think there's probably a couple in this one. First of all, Indiana's been off for the full week, and I know they're awful on defense, but they still gave up 51% shooting or worse in 4 of those last 5 games. So I got to figure maybe they've worked on defense a little bit during the break, and that'll be a little bit more of the focus. As you mentioned, Detroit has started to be more competitive. In fact, against the point spread on this team is now 11-4 their last 15 against the spread. So they are playing more competitive basketball. And one of the reasons is they have gotten a little bit better on defense. This is a team that's routinely giving well over 50% allowed to a lot of the opponents, but they've held over half of them during that 11-4 run to the mid to high 40s or better. So they are playing better defense, but their offense still stinks. The last 2 games before the All-Star break, they shot 42 and 38%, and they've scored 106 or less in 2 of the last 3, 111 or less in all 3. So, yes, Indiana's not a good defensive team. They play fast. I just don't think Detroit can take advantage, and this is a pretty big total still if that's the case, under 246. That money move to the down this today, I think, does make some sense in this one. This is one of the few times I will not be up and over with one of these high totals.
Interesting. All right. Well, Jalen Smith, I think Nesmith still listed as questionable here, Andy, for your Indiana Pacers. But it is good to see that at least Halliburton's name doesn't appear to be anywhere here for an injury designation, which is fantastic. But the market falling here in the total department with the Pacers at home. 2 young teams. I mean, what do you think we're going to get here tonight? And more importantly, should we be looking at anybody in the prop betting market if this thing goes over or under?
Well, again, I focused on a team total here, and I'm with Steve on this one. I like the Pacers under 129.5. Now, I know this is weird. I just took the over on the opponent of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and now I'm going to take the under on the opponent of the Detroit Pistons. So we're playing with fire here a little bit, but it's all about the numbers here. 129.5. Only one team in the last 12 games has gone over this total against Detroit. Some of this has to do with blowouts. They get into the fourth quarter and Detroit's down by 1 million, and the teams, sometimes don't play as hard, or maybe we're getting a little bit better defensive effort. But regardless, the numbers are the numbers. Pacers have only gone over this total one time out of the last 10 games. I don't know. Maybe Halliburton might have a little bit of rust after coming off of the busy All-Star weekend. Host city, I'm sure he was super busy. Played well in the All-Star game, was amazing in the skills competition. That was actually, I actually enjoyed the skills competition. That was pretty fun. But I think this could be a game that sneakily kind of goes under this total. I don't want to take anything with the Pistons. Not sure what we're getting from them, but this total for the Pacers, they're not putting up the points that they were earlier in the season. So I'll take the under 129.5.
Couple of unders here, Rob Vino. Didn't expect that to come here. Now, if you make this a third under, boy, oh boy, we're really going to have to seriously consider what's going on here. Detroit, are they going to add enough here in order to get this thing over, or are you in agreement that maybe less points here tonight in the Indiana Pacer game?
Well, and I don't want the Swiss flag, so I'll see if I can talk myself through this. Couple of things here. Number one, the seesaw stuff that Steve was referring to. I mean, so much of that over, under, and Indiana not scoring as much 11 games before the break has to do with, no Tyrese Halliburton, minutes management for Tyrese Halliburton. When he's not on the floor, they're certainly not going to score anywhere near what they score when he's on the floor. So I take those with a little bit of grain of salt. I talked earlier about teams that are jockeying for these seeding positions to get into the playoffs, to get home floor in the playoffs, the important stuff. Well, what's important to teams like the Detroit Pistons is that race for ping pong balls, right? They have 8 wins. Washington has 9. We see this year in and year out where these bad teams play real solid 3 quarters, get real close, then realize they could almost win the game, and then back off and don't score for the last 4.5, 5 minutes of the game and lose and maintain their amount of ping pong balls. So fourth quarter bothers me here if you're trying to play over. I could see maybe Detroit, if they're anywhere in range, just backing off and not, obviously Monty Williams isn't going to tell his team to do that, but still we see that happen quite a bit. I'm not in the habit of playing Indiana unders, but to Andy's point, you are playing numbers here. And, for a season, they're 19-9 over at home, the Pacers are, but those games average 247, barely up over this number. So the numbers crept up to a point now where it's tough to play with, again, to reference one of Steve's points, a very inconsistent offense on the other side, an offense that could go dry at any time. They'll play with pace, yes, but I have to say, I'm a little leery of Detroit maybe backing off a little if they're too close in the fourth. And I think that maybe the number's up in a spot where you can't trust an over when you don't have two teams that you're sure can put it in the basket. So I'd have to say I agree with these guys and go under.
All right, there you go. Market is in agreement as well. Under it is in that one here tonight. And before we get ready to talk some dogs here, just a quick reminder and a shout out to those of you joining us there on YouTube there in the usual chat spot. We appreciate it. Big shout out to those that might be joining us on WagerTalk TV's Shorts feed as well. We've got best bets coming up here. Also an ability for you to partner up with any one of these guys here. 50% off. It is half off Thursday. Right now, half price best bets. We'll tell you more about that during the best bets section. But in the meantime, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you can. We certainly would appreciate it as we get ready to talk some dogs. And there is inevitably one or two of them that are going to be barking tonight. So, Robert, let's see what we got here.
That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And anybody got to say anything, you let me know. That's my dog.
All right, let's check them out, see who's barking here tonight. Lakers up at the top there. These Phoenix Suns we talked about. The Clippers in a dog roll. The Wizards, Spurs, Pistons. The New York Knicks, the Bulls, the Nets, Rockets, Magic, and the Hornets. Lot of different dogs here on the card tonight. It's actually could be a very profitable night here for dogs, Merrill. Is there one here that you're leaning towards? Might be barking a little bit louder than the others?
I've done this segment like 100+ times. I'd never noticed. I think that was Ray Allen in a Bucks jersey.
That's correct.
What nickname did he? What was his dog nickname? I didn't get that analogy there. Do you know offhand? See on the left there? That's Ray Allen,
was
right?
Glenn. That's Glenn Robinson.
Glenn Robinson.
Oh, big dog. Big dog, Glenn Robinson.
Big dog. Yeah. What is that?
Yeah.
When you said Glenn Robinson, I knew the nickname. Big dog. There we go.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I asked. I have it small here on the screen, so I couldn't see who it was. For some reason, it looked like a Ray Allen pose. His hands on his hips looked a lot like Ray Allen, but yeah, big dog Glenn Robinson. Purdue, right? Best big man since Zach Edey. We'll see how that works out. 12 games, and no dogs really jumped out to me. And by the way, I do think we have to tread a little lightly first couple days back from the All-Star break, just like we do the couple days before the All-Star break last week, because we do get a little bit of uncertainty. I posted this game for free for everyone. It's my top NBA opinion because I've got one strong college best bet tonight. And by the way, it is half price Thursday. All plays at WagerTalk, so get that college basketball best bet for just $12 tonight. But my NBA free play on the page, I'll give it out here for the dog segment, is the Lakers +6. And I'm well aware that LeBron is out, but we're getting several baskets more in line value. And I have no problem taking what is still a quality dog. They were in good current form. 6 of their last 7 straight up they've won heading into the break. And they also have owned the Warriors. They beat them in the playoffs last year. They've now gone 8-2 straight up and against the spread the last 10 times they've faced Golden State. And not only is it really a play on LA without a superstar, it's an angle that's been working well the last few years. Just take that adjusted line value, as you know. And yes, the Warriors are in good current form also, 6-1 straight up in ATS their last 7. But most of the wins have come against bottom feeders. When stepping up in class, they have struggled to win by margin. They lost in double OT at home against the Lakers last month, lost to the Clippers a couple games back. And I just don't see Golden State pulling away and winning this by 7 or more. So I think the Lakers +6, we get some adjusted line value with LeBron out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, so listen, you're not alone there, Steve. There's not a lot of people buying into this whole they're back, the Golden State Warriors. Well, we're going to find out here tonight just how back they are. Andy Lang, interesting list of dogs here tonight. And it should be noted before the break, you pulled out some absolute disgustingness in this segment, man. I mean, some absolute atrocious, trashy dogs, and they all have covered, my man. So congratulations. Let's get another one here. How disgusting are you going here tonight?
Nothing real disgusting because nothing really jumps out to me. I guess I'll take the Bulls +8.5. They're at home against the Boston Celtics. And Boston, for all their accolades as a great home team, they're below 500, covering the spread on the road this season. They didn't do it the last 2 games before the break. There's a Bulls team that played a lot of road games going into the All-Star break. I believe it was, 9 out of 13 games. They had a lot of road games. They're finally at home. They should be well rested. This is a Celtics team I'm not sure is that motivated to be really, really creaming teams at this point. It's kind of, navigate the schedule, make sure we're healthy. No reason to, blow teams out. We're just trying to get to the playoffs. So I think maybe taking some of these teams with championship aspirations, ATS on the road might be a good little spot. And Glenn Robinson, he played in the state championship here against Alan Henderson. And the reason why I know that is my mom was one of his high school teachers, Alan Henderson. I actually grew up as a kid knowing Alan Henderson and watched him and Glenn Robinson play in the state championship. So that was fond memories of that game. Alan Henderson, one of the smartest dudes you will ever meet.
Love it. All right. See, got a little tie going on there. You like that, Vino, right? Well done. Now we're going all the way back to elementary school teachers. I still think, by the way, Matt Painter couldn't win with Glenn Robinson either if he had him. So let's talk here, Rob Vino, if we could. This is there's a little something all over the map here from a dog perspective. I mean, listen, as many dogs as we're looking here, there's pick'em prices, there's double-dip. Somebody's a barking here tonight. Are you leaning towards one here that might get your interest?
Well, I definitely love the direction Andy took, and I'll get even filthier than he got, and I'll take the Wizards plus the 15. You have to hold your nose and take that. But again, the Denver Nuggets, they are a team that obviously wants to get to that 1 seed. But the question is, how badly do you want to blow people out, right? They could get this taken care of in the first half, 3 quarters, go away. Washington, for what it's worth, and again, this quote from Kyle Kuzma about 2.5 weeks ago just was interesting because Kyle Kuzma is not a guy you necessarily correlate with diving after loose balls and playing hard for his coach. But when they did make the switch and got their new interim head coach, Kyle Kuzma was the first to say that this is the most detailed guy he's ever been around, and everything is covered before the game. Extremely smart head coach, and they dive after loose balls for him, and it shows up in their results heading in. Again, we talk about teams that maybe didn't want the break. The Wizards covered 4 of their last 5 heading in, but those covers, more importantly, were against Cleveland, Boston, Dallas, and New Orleans. 4 playoff teams. As an underdog in each situation, double-digit underdog in each situation, and got the cover. Here they are again, plus 15 against a playoff team. Nobody probably wants them, although I did see 15.5 down to 15, so somebody out there wants them. And for this segment, I'll join in. I'll take Washington plus the 15 against Denver.
Why not? It was pretty profitable before the break there, and we'll see if they can get that to continue here tonight. So there you got it. We talked some featured matchups here tonight. The contrarian gods have spoken. Talked a total, couple of dogs. That leaves us, of course, some best bets here that we've got to get to. So, for those that might be joining us here for the first time, it is simple. We throw 60 seconds on the clock. These guys can feel free to talk about whatever the hell they want in that 60 seconds as long as they give us a best bet. I will remind you, it is Half Price Thursday right now, though, so the ability to partner up with some best bets here across WagerTalk.com for half price. This is a great opportunity to do so here on this Half Off Thursday. But Steve, Double R, 1L, Merrill, he is going to take the ball to the top of the key. There might be a prop or two involved here. I'm just saying, we throw 60 seconds on the clock, Merrill. Where are you going for a best bet tonight?
Going to look at a free late night over-under selection for in the NBA tonight on Thursday. 12 NBA games on the board, but my top play comes in college basketball because I saw a really strong situation in college hoops, and it is Half Price Thursday. So to get that college basketball steamroller best bet, normally $25 for just $12.50 tonight on Thursday. No promo code needed. By the way, 7-day and a 365-day all-access specials, both available with promo codes. The 1 week, a 25% discount. The 1 year, an $800 works out to just over $3 a day, just over $1 a play. I'm number one in 2024 in all sports sides, number one in 2022 and 23 in all sports sides, football, baseball, basketball combined, and number one in units won in college and pro basketball sides this season. Not a bad time to get on board. Check out that college best bet, but more importantly, those longer-term subscriptions will make you a lot of money and save you money along the way. Let's look at over the total between the Lakers and Warriors. 5-2 to the over since the playoffs last year. LA shooting the ball well, even without LeBron. Golden State's defense is what's gotten weaker over the total tonight.
Woo! All right, a little bit. That was close. We went to the replay, and yes, he got it in. Very nicely done there, Merrill. That is good to go. And we didn't get any extra props, but we did get a boatload of math there, Rob Vino. I hope we'll give you a minute to recover from all that math. In the meantime, Andy Lang is up 60 seconds on the clock, my friends. Where are you going for a best bet here tonight?
I'm going to Victor Wembanyama over 1.5 3-pointers. Did a video on the WagerTalk YouTube channel about this play. The books have kept this at 1.5. And this play has hit in 6 straight games, 18 out of the last 23 games. And the books are struggling with this one. They keep putting up 1.5 3-pointers, and he keeps landing exactly on 2. So if they move it to 2.5, we just come back and take the under. Anything less than minus 150 is worthy of this play, and it's minus 130, minus 140 today. So Victor Wembanyama over 1.5 3-pointers. We're going to play it the next couple of games because he faces 3 of the bottom 10 defenses in defending the 3-pointers. I have a half price play, Robert, if we could show the graphic. I don't know if it counts for me, though. They left someone off of that graphic. Apparently everybody's half price Thursday.
Teddy is not on it either, apparently, Andy. Don't feel bad. Either. Teddy said the other week on Wager Talk today he's not on the graphic, and I was shocked by that. Shocked that you're not on it either.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being fired live on the air, guys.
No, you're good. Anyway, I think they kept all the good-looking guys off.
Just buzz their ass already, will you, Robert? Nobody's talking about the right. Buzz them. Thank you. Damn, take that buzz button away from you here. Listen, Rob Vino, I can promise you Rob didn't have no idea who's on it, who's not on it on that graphic here. But the bottom line is if they're on WagerTalk.com, you got half price best bets here tonight. That's the only thing that matters. All right, Vino, help us out here, my man. 60 seconds on the clock. Tell the folks what you got locked and loaded. And, of course, give us a best bet here tonight in the association.
Here's the math I learned, Joe, from listening to Steve. He had 8 seconds to get a best bet out, and somehow he got it done. I don't know how the hell he got it done.
Impressive, Rob. I'll teach you how to do it after the show.
Yeah, absolute master at that. Real quick here, I have 45, and I probably won't get it done. Knicks in Philadelphia. I'm going to play them up and over the total, guys. Philadelphia, obviously, without Joel Embiid, they've taken on a whole new approach. They're going to go up and down the floor. The trade deadline absolutely helped them as far as offense is concerned when you get Buddy Hield in there. And when Tyrese Maxey comes out at point guard, it's now campaign. So the pace won't slow for Nick Nurse's team. He's going to push for 48 minutes. They're going to try that style. Play a Knicks team that's banged up. Most of the bigs are banged up. It looks like Hartenstein will go here tonight. But the Knicks defensively have faltered since their injuries. And they, too, picked up a lot of offensive help during the trade deadline. Bogdanovich and Alec Burks from Detroit are helpful. I think over 228.5, the right way to go, New York and Philadelphia.
Ooh, all right. Well, I have a question for you. How does it work with the fired coach bump? Does it count if you fired them during a break and then we had to wait 5 days before they play again? Or is there any rule of thumb there, Merrill, with not backing Brooklyn tonight, since they did fire their coach, but it was while they were on vacation? So I don't even know how that works. Is that even legal?
It's actually an excellent point. You don't see it too often, but we do talk about that catalyst in the daily sports, which of course are hockey, baseball, and pro basketball. When there's a coaching change, the old adage is you can't fire the entire roster in season, so you got to make a change somewhere. Speaking of which, I'm going to one of the last home games tonight for William and Mary.
Yeah.
Man, he might be a change here.
Go try.
But but the thing is, it is normally a catalyst. So I would say that would favor him. But then again, with the layoff, Joe, it's an excellent point. It maybe is a little less of a catalyst. It's a bizarre situation.
It really is. But the hell with it. Toronto sucks, so I'm still taking them. All right, let's recap that one more time here as Rob Vino going over the 228.5 with the Knicks and the Sixers. You heard Merrill. He told you going over tonight with that Laker Golden State game here, expecting some points. And Wemby over 1.5 3-pointers made. Andy is a big believer of hell. If it ain't broke, we ain't fixing it. No reason to go against that one. Shout out to the chat, by the way, especially good old Chad Moody. Long time no see, my friend. It's glad to see you here. Wanted to just comment that only Merrill can use 90% of the clock on promos and still manage to get the damn best bet in there. And that is correct. That is the kind of sharpshooters we deliver here on the NBA Tip-Off Show. All right, that'll do it again. Those of you joining us for the first time, hit that like button if you could. Hit the subscribe button. Become part of that WagerTalk TV family. Shout out to those that joined us on YouTube Shorts, of course. All of you that hung out on the WagerTalk TV channel, we appreciate you as well. We'll have much more NBA getting ready to head into what is a huge weekend, not just in the NBA, college basketball across the board, and we have got you covered. Until we talk again tomorrow, best of luck with all those plays tonight, guys. We'll talk to you again soon. Good luck.